Alright, so here's something you can do if you're doing some presets on BandLab. Um so if you're working with like presets on BandLab that you have and you want to have it mixed, you could definitely do that. But something I would definitely do is take off BandLab's de-esser. If you're gonna hear it, you just hear like it's a little bit off. Listen to it for off. It sounds choppy with BandLab's de-esser. Another thing is take off like EQs and listen to the compressor. It just sounds smashed, and their noise gate is a little weak too. So I would probably just keep EQs, and if you like the specific delays that you got, keep that on. So for this case, I'm not even gonna export the intro. I'm just gonna do the instrumental. And vocals. Alright, so and get out of there. Just open up Pro Tools. Whatever this fucking loads. OBS slows the fuck out of my computer for no reason. But it's whatever. Alright, so we're gonna get this preset for this case. I'm not even gonna use a preset. I'm just working on 24-bit 48 kilohertz. The reason why I'm working on 24-bit, even 32-bit's beneficial in certain things, especially really loud recordings when you need that extra dynamic range from like it might even go down to like negative 100 decibels on 32-bit and up to like God knows how loud. It's a float. That's like hard to explain, but we're gonna be working on that. Okay, so for this case, I'm just gonna create 2 tracks, 2 stereo tracks. I like to work in samples, ticks or whatever. If you like to work in ticks, that's fine. I like samples. I'm gonna do this one instrumental. And I'm gonna do this one vocal. Okay. So we have the 2 tracks, we're added to our output, obviously, and we're just gonna input the audio. Okay, now that we're in Pro Tools, what I'm probably gonna do is just take a listen real quick how it sounds. Okay, so it seems to be clipping right there. If you take a look at the waveform of the audio, you're gonna see that it looks almost smashed. First thing we can do, take it down to where it's just underneath, like that. Clip gain. Now that track's not clipping. If this clips, that doesn't matter. That's the master. Okay, so first thing up, I'm just straight up gonna slap a EQP 1A on it. So I'm gonna take a listen. First thing I'm hearing is a lack of a low end. So I'm gonna try in the 100. I'm gonna put it at a factor of 3, and we're gonna work up.
Take every truth and twist it in the sand. They push and they pull.
Alright, so factor 4 looks like it's working. Alright, it seems to be clipping, so we're just gonna lower it now. Alright, so now we're going to work at high frequency. We're going to try to add that brightness to it. Okay, so I always like to do it, if you can only choose one, you can only remember one bandwidth for the high frequency. Usually I like to work at a 7. That's usually around from like 3 different frequency zones, like the 10K, 12K, and 16K, between those. But sometimes it's a little bit lower, sometimes it's a little bit higher. So in this one I determined it's a 6. Immediately sounding better, but there's things we're missing. First off, what I think we're missing is, remember we took out that de-esser. So I like to use this Waves de-esser. You can use anything you like. The Silements, it's really good. Pro Tools, native plugins de-esser is pretty good too, actually. So I'm gonna take a male esser, and I'm gonna look at his vocals through a analyzer. I'll just go on the F6 RTA. Now these are usually inaccurate, but I'm gonna get a general idea. The reason I'm gonna raise this right here is to hear the sibilants and where it's most prevalent. So I'm gonna take the Q down a little bit. Alright, so you got around like 51, 54 on that. So I'm going to take the, if you can see, and bring it up a little bit to 51, 54. Doesn't have to be too accurate, that's fine enough. So now I'm going to put it at the bottom and drag up until it sounds the most human and that we hear no sibilants in. At negative 80 threshold, you're going to hear like no sibilants, but we're going to bring it up to where we can't hear it. Alright, so negative 20 looks like it's good, actually. That's pretty standard, actually. It's pretty funny that it lined up exactly as being good on that. So, it's clipping around the end. We just have to lower it. That happens sometimes with recording issues. Try not to let it record. Try not to let it clip when you record. Like, that is the worst thing you can possibly do, but sometimes you have to work around it. And sometimes it doesn't hurt it. It might only hurt your efficiency in the mix. What I mean by that is how hard we have to work to get the sound to sound good. It'll always end up good. You can make pretty much anything sound subjectively good, but how hard you want that to be, how miserable you want your engineer's life to be, is how much or how bad you record your vocals. So you're probably hearing that too. We're gonna drag the de-esser first, actually, though, in the chain. I'll make a video on chains later and the importance of the order. But you see we have the first EQ that's adding some brightness and everything, and a little bit of low end. I like to call that the weight and brightness of it. And we're gonna do another EQ, but this time we're gonna use a dynamic EQ. So we hear the harshness around here. You hear that crunchiness. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set the gain to 0. I'm gonna set a threshold. You see it's peaking around here. So we're gonna do it a little bit under the peak, like around, for this it looks around like 25. And I put the range at -4. Not too much. I wouldn't go over -4. And then we have the attack. You know how attacks works. So if I were to bring this up, it would take a lot more time for it to decrease. You see it's slower. If I do it here, it takes less volume to reach the threshold. So for this case, we're just going to work pretty high and go down until alright, so that sounds pretty good right there. I'm gonna tweak the release a little bit, how fast it returns, because it sounds like this is dipping it. I'm gonna do that a little bit faster. Put that around a 25 probably. Next up, I'm going to take a high pass. We're going to do it from the top, and we're going to drag down until it sounds human again. What I mean by human is not this. It sounds like a fucking alien or something. It sounds like on a telephone. Make it sound realistic. Also, another thing, big tip, not all things need to be high passed. For example, listen, this is cutting it out. We don't have much low end, so you shouldn't high pass it. Don't take out too much. In this case, you're going to see as we drag, it doesn't sound human until around here. So you got to add around like -15. But what I can do is I can take a put it on a shelf and decrease the gain. Oh wait, there we go. On a low shelf, and we're just gonna decrease the gain to take out some of that. But we're gonna take the frequency and bring it all the way over to the end of the bass frequencies, which are around here. Put that straight at 125. Right down slightly, just until that extra space for the beat and the instrumental to go through. So now that we have that, we're gonna look at the mids. There's a little bit there, a distortion. We can take that a little bit out. You see it's slammed, especially around the end. So we're just gonna put it pretty low still though, like in the middle. 15.5. We're gonna take the gain down. Take it down 1.5. Just because we want